I'm going to load in the CMux help documentation into context and then ask it, please create 2 new panes in our workspace. Then once I let this run, you'll see that Codex is aware of CMux new pane, and it was able to create this pane and this pane because there's a CLI with CMux where you can essentially control itself. And it is aware of which pane it's currently running in and which workspace it's currently running in. So I can say, please close the 2 other panes, and you'll see now they'll both close. So the model was able to infer from the CLI to CMux focus pane, find the correct workspace, and close the surface. So with that being done, let's load in the help menu from Gemini into context. Then we can issue a command like, please open 2 new panes, and in each pane, run Gemini with a command to generate a poem. And in each of those, create a different poem. So now, once it creates the new panes, it can also launch these Gemini commands. Looks like it created 2 too many panes. I can close those out. I'm not sure if that was left over from the previous command, but you can see that it was able to load Gemini in this pane and run the prompt, create a poem. The iron tower stands, a salt-scarred ghost. And this poem, the robot kneaded dough with iron gears, reciting recipes he'd held for years. And what's amazing about this is that this session, which opened these 2 panes, can get the resulting text in each of these panes. So if I say, grab the 2 resulting poems from each Gemini command and write them to a single markdown file, once I run this and let the model figure this out, it can reach into the panes, read them. Let's zoom in on this so we can see the output. You can see once I hit Control-T and look at the full output that it was able to grab the poems. The iron tower stands, a robot with whisk and delight. I'll quit out of transcript mode. And then if we check on this, I'll hit Control-Z to suspend the current process, Control-L to clear out the terminal. If I just cat, and then the only file in here is Gemini poems, you can see we have a file with the 2 poems together. So I'll go ahead and Control-L to clear that out, then FG to foreground our session again. I will unfull screen this so our panes come back, and then I can tell it, please close those 2 panes. Now we've cleaned up each of those panes, and we can even do things like, please create 4 new panes, give each of them a title based on a section of the poems that we created. And you'll see we now have a salt-scarred ghost, a lighthouse lifeline. I can tell it to please balance out the panes so they're equally laid out or they have equal dimensions for each pane. Then it can go ahead and relay out everything for us. And essentially you gain this natural language way of managing all of the panes because CMux has an incredible CLI to expose all of these commands.